Hi, I am Jackie Toops. I am an Army wife and a writer for ArmyWife101.com. And today I am talking to Navy spouse Lilly Atlas. She is an award-winning contemporary romance author, and she has written several books, one of which has just come out. Her newest one is called Escapades, and these are steamy books. So I think this is going to be a really fun interview. Thank you so much for talking to us, Lilly.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm really excited.
Excellent. Well, I am too. I definitely, when I saw that you were writing and you were so prolific, that you were a military spouse and a mother of three, I thought, how did she do it? So I've got some great questions for you because I know our viewers are going to wonder as well. So what can you tell me just a little bit about yourself and your background?
Well, yeah, I'm a Navy spouse. We've been in the Navy for, my husband for about 10 years, and so me for 8 since we got married. And I said, like you said, I have 3 children. The oldest is about to turn 5, then the next one's about to turn 3, and then I have an 8-month-old.
They are very young.
A little, yes.
Yet you make time.
Yeah, definitely. They keep the house hopping, and it's crazy. And one fur baby.
Oh, that's good. So your hands are definitely full and your days are definitely probably very exciting. Yeah. So how many novels have you written altogether?
Let's see. The 8th one is about to come out on May 22nd. So I have 7 published right now, and then the 8th one is scheduled to come out soon.
That is perfect. And so can you tell me a little bit about how you started writing, how long ago it was, how you began the process?
Sure. Yeah. So my background is actually in physical therapy. I went to school for physical therapy, and I worked for almost 10 years as a physical therapist. I took a couple years off when my first daughter was born. Mm-hmm. And then I was home for, I guess it was 2 years with her. And then I had my second daughter, and I felt like I needed some kind of creative outlet or something else to do with my time. My husband works long hours, and so, I was with the kids a lot. And then when they were sleeping, I was just by myself. And so I started writing, and I didn't even tell my husband about it. I didn't tell anyone about it. It was almost like I was journaling. I just had ideas, and I was just putting them down on the computer just to have something else to do with my time. And at one point I realized I had about 70,000 words written, which is novel length. So at that point I said to my husband, I think I've written an entire book. And he's like, what are you talking about? So I showed it to him, and I said, well, what are we supposed to do with this now? And we went from there to work on publishing it. And then after the first one, I loved it. I had so much fun with it. I just started on a second one, and the ideas kept coming, and we went from there. So this was about, my first book was published on October 9th of 2016. So it's almost 2 years since I first published. And it took about a year before that, since I started writing it, to get the first book published.
Wow, that's very prolific. You've produced so much work in a very short time frame.
Yes, it has been a lot in a short amount of time, definitely.
So how long does it take you on average to write one of your novels?
From start to finish, it takes about 3 months. It's slowed up a little since I had the third kid. That things have slowed down a little bit, and this last one's taken me about 4 months. But once the ideas are there, I can get them out pretty quick. So it takes, the actual writing part is about 2 months, and then there's about another month or 6 weeks of editing.
Fantastic. I mean, that's still very fast, because I write, but I'm mostly writing blogs from 500 to 750 words. So when you said, 70,000 words?
Yeah, that's about what they usually, somewhere around that range.
Incredibly impressive. So you're talking about when you get ideas, how do you get these inspirations? Because you are writing the contemporary romance, which is a topic that many of us enjoy, especially when our spouses are deployed, or probably for you on a ship. So where do you find your inspiration?
I don't know. I just have I have a very active imagination. I'm not very good at being idle. So even if I'm in the car or in the shower, I'm always thinking of plots and ideas. I read a lot. I've always been a very big reader, and I think that's probably where a lot of things come from. I'll read something, and it'll kind of spur an idea, and then it just spirals from there until eventually it becomes a whole story. But I'm always thinking of plots and scenarios. And
I love that. Some of my best ideas happen in the shower. So,
And driving the car.
yeah, I can definitely relate. So can you tell me a little bit about the publishing process, how you got your book out there? Do you have any say over the cover art? Do they market the book for you? Just explain that for me, please.
So I'm self-published, which means that I have control over every single aspect, which is nice, but I'm also responsible for every single aspect of the book. I'm responsible for marketing, I'm responsible for the business side of things, I'm responsible for the publishing, finding my own editor, my own cover designer, all of that. So there's pluses and minuses. It's nice to have complete say over everything. But like I said, the first book, I really just kind of spit it out. It was just kind of a mess, the first one, because I had no idea what I was doing. I was just writing things to pass the time. And when I gave it to the editor, she really she ripped it apart, the first one. And so the final product was very different than what I handed in as my first draft. But from there, I've tried to really learn and take in everything that my editor has taught me, which is a ton. And when the book was complete, I spent months researching how to publish, trying to go the traditional route or self-publish. And from what I've read, especially a lot of romance authors say that they get rejected from publishers, but they have great success self-publishing. So I figured I would give it a whirl, and anyone can do it. It costs you nothing besides if you pay for a cover artist or an editor. And you can self-publish on all platforms, Amazon, iBooks, Barnes & Noble. There are a couple other international ones. And each process is a little bit different, but I spent months researching how to get it all done. Found a cover artist and editor. And once all the pieces were together, it's just a matter of going through the process with each retailer to get them uploaded onto their websites, and then all of a sudden you're for sale.
Fantastic. Well, and for those of you just joining us, I'm Jackie Toops with Army Wife 101, and I'm a writer, and I'm talking with Navy spouse Lilly Atlas, who is an award-winning contemporary romance novelist who has published several books. And when I look at your books on Amazon, which is you can purchase from there, all the covers seem very cohesive. So it seems like you've got great branding, great theme, and you've got a good following. I read so many reviews where people said, oh, I love Lily's books, and I read this one, and now I had to read that one, and I love these series. And so I think that's wonderful that you are delivering this to this hungry audience.
Oh, romance readers just devour hundreds of these books each year. They love them.
That's just fantastic. So who would you say your intended audience is for? And I mean, because these are somewhat mature themes that you're writing about. Like, what's your typical reader like?
Well, women, mostly. Women. And it's the over 18 crowd, because the books are definitely for 18 plus. But other than that, it spans the spectrum, younger, older, everyone.
Well, and hopefully after this, we'll get even more military spouses reading your work.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, my husband is currently deployed as well, so I'm like, I could use a good book. Now's a great time. I'm probably blushing now. So do you have a book that's one of your most popular or successful? Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Probably the first one, I guess, because it's been on sale the longest, probably the first one in the No Prisoners series, which is my first series. It's called Striker. And if you think it's kind of Sons of Anarchy with the romance aspect dialed up. So it's pretty popular kind of subgenre in romance these days, motorcycle club romance, they call them. And that series has 6 books. So each book is about a different character within the motorcycle club, and it just follows their story. And
that's so perfect. And that's great for you because you created a framework, and then you can just build in this world that you've already established.
Yeah, so everybody gets kind of invested in the characters, and you're excited to read about the next one because you learned a little bit about them in the first one. It's fun.
Excellent. Wow. So do you have a favorite character that you've written about?
It changes probably a little bit with each book. I think one of my favorite characters, his name is Acer. He was the male lead in the third book that I wrote.
Yeah. Can you tell me a little bit about him? Like, why is he so intriguing?
His character is a little different than some of the others. He's a little more intellectual, and he's fun. That's the book I actually that's probably one of my favorite books that I've written. That's the one that I submitted for a couple of awards. So it's a fun book.
Fantastic. Well, and can you tell me a little bit about the awards that you've won?
There were just a couple of ebook awards that, that third book that I was saying, Acer, won a silver medal in one of them and then a top medal in another one. So
congratulations. Well, I love this because you're being so proactive. I mean, you're coming up with this, you're doing all the work, you're spending all the time, doing the research, and you just keep putting it out. And now you're submitting for awards, which I think is fantastic.
It's been really fun. It's been much more than I ever expected it to be. When I started it, I kind of figured, if I sold one book, I would be on top of the moon. And I still remember that very first day, my husband and I, the first day we published, we kept checking just probably 100 times a day to see if, one person bought it. And that very first day, I remember we sold 35 books and thought it was just the best thing in the entire world. And then it started to grow from there. And every day I was just a little bit more shocked. So it's been a very fun journey.
That's incredible. Well, and can you tell me, how do you carve out time with being a Navy spouse, with your husband away a lot and 3 small children? How do you make time to write?
So when I first started, I was working part-time a couple of days a week. And so I had my kids would go to the sitter 3 days a week. And slowly, as this became more, as I was looking to make this more of a career and less of a hobby, we kind of started switching over where I was working out of the house less, and I would use one of those days to write until eventually we decided I would quit my job, and this became my career. So now I have somebody watch my kids a couple of days a week, and those are my precious writing days. And then there's nap time and bedtime at 2 o'clock in the morning and 5 o'clock in the morning and any other time that I can squeeze in some work.
That's so great. I admire that because it is hard. I know, because people always say, I don't have the time, and you're not going to find it. You have to make it.
Yes.
You have to carve that out. You have to set priorities. And I know personally working from home can be a struggle because my kids are here a lot.
So, but your kids are there, and your pile of dirty dishes is there, kind of staring you in the face.
Agreed.
Little chores that you didn't do. And so it's more of a challenge working from home than I thought it was going to be.
Mm-hmm. I definitely can concur to that. So, but I think it's amazing because you're accomplishing so much. One of my goals this year is to also write a book. So when I see how many you've written, I thought, maybe my goal should be 5 books or 10. But it's just good to see you're doing it. And I think that's really inspiring because I know there are other military spouses out there who are looking to work from home. They're looking to write. And what sort of advice would you give to the spouses who are thinking of becoming a writer?
I would say just do it. No excuses. It's kind of like you said, there's always my kids are taking up so much time, or my spouse is away, or I have to do the housework, or I'm too tired. And I think that if you really want it bad enough, you have to just shove everything away and just go for it, because you can make a million excuses and then it never happens.
I agree. That's such good advice. And if you're waiting for all conditions to be perfect, it's just not going to happen. So yep. I love how proactive you are, and you've accomplished so much. Now you've written all of these novels. You've got this great following, and then you've got this newest book, Escapades, coming out. What can you tell us about that one?
I love this book. This was kind of my baby in my brain for a really long time, and I wanted to finish the first series before I wrote this one. So this one had just been brewing and brewing for quite a while. It's a little bit different than your typical romance novel where, boy and girl meet, fall in love kind of thing. This one is about a couple that's already married, mm-hmm. and they go through some tragedy and some struggles, and it's about how they get disconnected from each other, and then how they find their way back to each other through some unconventional methods.
Only guess, the imagination races. But actually, I think that's a very valid topic. I mean, even in any relationship, even without tragedy, after a while, it's so easy to get stuck in the mundane routine of everyday life. You get disconnected.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I think maybe your ideas in your book to help spice up this marriage might help others in the same boat. I think that's so great. Well, is there anything else that you would like to share with us about you, your books?
No, I guess I just, as far as helping other military spouses, I belong to a lot of different military spouse groups. And I feel like the topic of careers for military spouses is always so prevalent. And it's so difficult because you hear a lot of people saying they feel like their career as a spouse takes the second seat to the service members, which is, it kind of is designed that way. You move when you're not expecting it to where you might not move. And I've done all three things. I've worked out of the house, I've been the stay-at-home mom, and now I work from home. And I think there's challenges in all of them, but I think we have, in some ways, I think we have a really unique opportunity to think outside the box and find something that we love that we might never have done. You know, like I feel like at 30, I finally found my career passion, and it's so different than what I ever thought I was going to do when I went to college and started working. And I wouldn't have ever done that had it not been for the military and not been for us living in an area where job opportunities were limited. And so I hope that other military spouses will just kind of be willing to jump in, take a risk, think outside the box, and find something that they really love, because it can be exciting and it can be a fun adventure too.
Agreed. I love how you put a positive spin on that. If you're having a hard time finding a job or you're stationed out in the middle of nowhere, make something for yourself. I'm like you. I went to college. I was going to work in museums and teach art history. And then in my 30s as well, became a writer. I did all three as well as you, worked outside the home, in the home, stay-at-home mom. And it's never too late to find your calling, follow your passion. And I think that you're setting an amazing example for other authors, military spouses. That's wonderful. Well, can you tell people what's the best way to find you, learn more about you?
Yes, I'm everywhere. My website is lilyatlas.com. It's Lily with 2 L's. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and it's either Lily Atlas or Lily Atlas Books is how you can find me. The books are sold on Amazon, iTunes, Barnes & Noble, and then Google Play and Kobo is one that's a little bit more internationally used. You can find me all over the place.
Well, wonderful. Well, thank you again so much. Again, this was Lily Atlas. She's a Navy spouse, award-winning contemporary romance novelist whose newest book, Escapades, is coming out soon. Thank you so much for your time and for talking to the Army Wife 101 audience today. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Jackie. This was really fun. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.